Whenever there are two or more instruments in a mix element like a drum kit, it's best to assign them to a subgroup in order to make any level adjustments easier. In this video, I'm going to show you how to assign your drum channels to a subgroup and why using one can be helpful. So the first thing we're going to do is insert a subgroup, but in order to do that, we'll first go to the last channel in the group of channels that we want to go into that subgroup. So in this case, it's room, and this is the room mic, and you'll see why we do this in a second. Now we come up to track, and we say new. We want this to be a stereo subgroup, and the reason why is we want to pan the drums across a stereo soundstage. Therefore, we need a stereo subgroup. So we don't want an audio track, we want an aux input track. Now watch where the subgroup is created. It comes up right after room. If you didn't select room, it would have randomly selected a place to put it, and probably it would have been down at the right-hand end of your mix window. So you would have had to move it. This is just saving you an extra step. So now this is called aux1. What we want to do is rename it. I'm going to right-click on the mouse, which brings up a window, and say rename. And we're going to call this drums, but I'm going to put this in caps. What I like to do is put all of my subgroups in caps to make it easier to differentiate between input channels and the subgroups. If you take notice, in this case, there's a lot of input channels. In fact, the descriptions are already in caps. And probably what I would do normally is go through those and actually retitle them so they would be in small case. So with just a glance, you'd be able to see what was a drum subgroup in this case. The next thing we want to do is select an input path. We're going to come up to the input section of the channel, which is here. And now it says no input. What we're going to do is select an input. In this case, it says drum sub. And the reason why it says that, it's because it was already pre-titled in a layout. Now, normally this would say something like bus 1 and 2, or you can select any bus you want, bus 23 and 24, bus 12 and 13, whatever you like. Now we want to go to all of the input channels and select the signal path so they're sending directly to this drum subgroup. So we'll come over here and we'll select our first channel, which is the kick in. Now we're going to select all the other channels as well. And the way we do that is we do shift, click. These are all the other channels that are going to be sent to that subgroup. And there's a reason why we do this. We can assign all of those channels all at once. And the way we do that is we hit the Option key and the Shift key. We go to our output assignment. We're going to say bus. And in this case, again, it says the drum sub, but it could very well just say bus 19 and 20. Bus 1 and 2. Click it, and now if you take notice, everything that was selected has changed. So all of those channels are assigned to that drum subgroup. The reason why we want the subgroup in the first place is it makes it very easy for us to change the whole drum kit with just one fader. By moving this fader up and down, we're able to change the complete balance of the drum kit against everything else in the mix. And that's what makes this very, very powerful. The other thing that makes it powerful is we can insert a EQ or a compressor into the signal path of the drum subgroup, and it will affect everything that's assigned to that subgroup. So with just one EQ, we can EQ the whole drum kit if we'd like, or with just one compressor, we can compress everything if we'd like. It's not necessarily the best way, but it is a way to do it. So that's how you create a drum subgroup. In a subgroup, all of the channels of the group are assigned to a subgroup fader, which is then assigned to the master mix bus. This gives you a lot more control over the level of the drum kit.